And so the peloton reached stage 20 of the Tour de France. Finally in Nice, but 2 days from the end. Almost celebration. Family in tow, jerseys almost won. 2 stages still to be won. Mark Cavendish celebrating. Romain Bardet is saying goodbye. And Remco Evenepoel, hello perhaps to the podium for the first time in his career. Tadej Pogačar had spent yet another day in charge. This time he would be looking to perhaps sit back and see the race play out in front of him. That's at least what he said before the 133 kilometers leaving Nice and heading high up into the mountains. 3 famous Paris-Nice climbs finishing on the Col de Couillole, where Pogačar himself had won on that race just over a year ago. Handshakes on the start line. Pogačar more or less having secured his Tour win. Only accident or incident will prevent him being victorious in the overall GC. There was a photo for the memories. Richard Carapaz, though, had serious business to attend to. He was hoping to secure mathematically the King of the Mountains competition. It will be a fast and furious start, heading to the Col de Braus, the first climb of the day, but nothing was going right for the world champion. Everything was going all right for those who had the legs. Up the hairpins they went, into beautiful scenic areas of the Arrière-Pays de Nice. Alps on a hot day, and a chance to have a playful day for Pogačar, who was enjoying his time in yellow. Up the road, Visma Lease bike were at it again. They wanted to get more riders in the break. They wanted another stage win. They managed that with Jan Tratnik. Marc Soler was there for Pogačar's team. Wilco Kelderman in the break again. And by the time that things started to settle down, 10 really strong riders were there, including Romain Bardet, who was there riding his final road stage of the Tour. Richard Carapaz went on to take more points in the King of the Mountains competition, and he was on his way to securing that prize. But with 70 kilometers to go, Remco Evenepoel showed the ambition to try and put Jonas Vingegaard under pressure for the second place in the GC. Wout van Aert was celebrating a son's birthday. Jasper Stuyven was climbing with the very best, and into the final 50 kilometers where it all started to kick off from the break. 4 minutes of a gap, Tratnik launching, several trying to go with him, including Richard Carapaz. And at the top of the penultimate climb of the Tour, in La Colmiane, Carapaz would mathematically secure the King of the Mountains prize. The peloton at this point were almost 3 minutes away. Could Evenepoel put pressure on those just less than 2 minutes separating second and third? So they came to the final climb of the Tour. Col de Couillole, 15 kilometers, an even tough gradient, and behind, one by one, the Soudal riders peeled off. The pressure, the pace was too much for Carlos Rodriguez. He was on his way to dropping another place in the GC. Enric Mas and Richard Carapaz were the best from the group at the front. Romain Bardet, though, would not give up without a fight. Mas and Carapaz would attack each other several times. But behind, the gap was coming down to less than 2 minutes. And when it was the turn of Mikel Landa, the gap would disappear into thin air. Carapaz would go for the umpteenth time. Already a stage winner at this Tour. He wanted more, but the game kicked off in the GC battle 7 kilometers from the finish when Remco Evenepoel launched the hostilities. Unable to distance Vingegaard, Joao Almeida then took up the pace. Almeida brought it back to within a minute, and that was tempting for Jonas Vingegaard. Naturally, Pogačar would mark him, but then Remco Evenepoel was unable to follow. After having shown all the emotion the day before, coming back from the injury, showing his character, his courage, Jonas Vingegaard was putting time back into Evenepoel. But the stage win was still being fought for. They were almost there at the front. Carapaz gave it a crack. Evenepoel was almost half a minute behind, and then the two leaders were caught. Despite announcing that he didn't want to try and win the stage, Pogačar in the final kilometre once again found himself with a chance. Off the wheel of Vingegaard he came, from the front he attacked, and for the 5th time at this tour, Tadej Pogačar won a mountain stage. The only other rider to do that, 5 mountain stages in a single tour, was Gino Bartali, and Pogačar, made to make and break records, did just that. A good performance from Vingegaard, who secured more or less his 2nd place and certainly put more time into Evenepoel. He finished almost a minute down from the Dane. A 5th stage win at this tour for Tadej Pogačar. A 16th in his career. 5 up this time, with a time trial still to come. Pogačar doing it again. We're running out of words and superlatives to describe a man, a generational talent. The tour in the bag. A time trial now to enjoy. And Richard Carapaz will enjoy the final day riding against the clock in the polka dot jersey. Almost time for Pogačar to take a bow. His lead now 5:14 to Vingegaard, 8:04 to Evenepoel. Changes in the top 10, Yates moving to 6th, Jorgensen into 8th. And Tadej Pogačar will start from home on the final day, as he's all ready to win what will be his 3rd Tour de France. 33.7 kilometres against the clock. A tough one with a mighty Col d'Es and a Paris-Nice style finish back into Nice itself, where the Tour will finish for the first time outside of the French capital. It's a race of truth like no other, in its most authentic form, and you can watch the grand finale of the Tour live and on demand on Eurosport and Discovery+.